It is a beautiful weather night in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And just on the outskirts of the city, we welcome you to Miller Park, where for the first time this year, the Preds are playing in this ballpark with the roof open. And how about the standings inside the National League Central? Even with the last three losses to begin this second half, the Reds are only 2.5 behind the co-leaders in the division, the Cardinals and these Milwaukee Brewers. And hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball. Now, you take away the Cardinals, and the Reds have had their way with everybody else inside this National League Central, including the Brewers, so far this year.
Right now, though, Tom, both of these teams are struggling mightily, and maybe just the elixir the Reds need to be able to come in here and win. They've already won 7 of 10 games against the Brewers. They've way outscored them. Batting average is better. The earned run average is better. They overall have just outplayed this Brewer team. But you know, always things begin to level out. And you hope that it's not the case here, because the Reds are in desperate need of a win and build some momentum.
Well, those numbers are good, and the numbers are very good for tonight's Red starter, Matt Latos. Not only overall in his major league career, but this year in particular against Milwaukee. He's already made 2 starts against them.
Well, he has. Remember, Matt Latos started the season on the disabled list, so he's way behind everybody else as far as innings pitched, but he's finding a way to get it done, especially against the Brewers. A couple of starts, really good earned run average. He's got the breaking ball working. Matt Latos has come up with a new changeup that he's found very effective for him. So hopefully he'll have all those pitches going tonight against Willie Peralta, because when Peralta last faced the Reds back in early May, he was lights out. 8 innings of shutout baseball. He gave up only 3 hits and not walk a batter in that ball game. He was dominant that game. Let's hope the Reds do not see the Willie Peralta that was throwing 98 with a hard slider like he was that day at Great American Ballpark.
All right, we still have more to come leading up to game time. The Reds have not had a problem meeting division leaders during this course of 2014. They played down to competition. They played up to competition. Jim Day has that story when we return.
brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And brought to you by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Brats. They know how to tailgate here in Wisconsin. In my estimation, the tailgating capital of the country. I'm Jim Day. Big series involved here. The Brewers versus the Reds. This guy about to walk behind me, Matt Latos, hits the hill for Cincinnati. Couple of trends going on that are going to go head-to-head tonight. You look at the numbers. And over the last 6 road games, the Reds have lost all 6, outscored 26-8 in those games. And the Brewers are 1-7 in the last 8 home games, outscored by 20 runs, which leads us to our Elk and Elk storylines. Brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK. Ohio. In the past, the Reds have been accused of not beating the good teams. Well, that's not the case this year. Defeating the top teams, have won the last 4 series versus teams in first place at the time. Took 2 out of 3 here in Milwaukee. 2 out of 3 against Toronto. That 4-game sweep in San Francisco, and then taking another 2 out of 3 at GABP versus Milwaukee. 4 games over 500 against teams over 500 this season. They would certainly like that trend to continue because the Reds 2.5 back can make up some ground. Up next, Tom Brenneman and Chris Wells with lineups in the first pitch on your home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio.
Game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
There are a lot of Reds fans here in Milwaukee tonight for this Monday night opening game of this 3-game series. Reds are 2.5 behind these Brewers alongside the St. Louis Cardinals, tied atop the division. And the Pirates over the weekend leapfrogging Brian Price's team, 1 game in front of the Reds. Let's take a look at the Reds starting lineup tonight, presented by Meyer. No Jay Bruce tonight. He did not have a hit over the weekend against the New York Yankees, so it'll be Schumacher in right following Billy Hamilton. Todd Frazier bats third, back at third. Mesoraco back in the lineup. Donald Lutson out at first, Heisey in left. Santiago red hot at second. Cozart the shortstop, and Big Matt Latos is on the mound. Starting it for the Milwaukee Brewers. 2 starts ago, Chris, he couldn't get anybody out. And then his last start, he shut out the Cardinals over 7+ innings.
Yeah, so you're really not sure what you're going to get with Willie Peralta except a very hard fastball and a guy that likes to throw right-handers slider after slider. So Peralta is certainly capable, as you can tell by the 10-6 record, a pretty good earned run average right around 3.7. He has given up 15 home runs, and he's a guy that when he is on, he is very, very difficult to put the barrel of the bat on.
And that ERA really was inflated due to one horrific start against Philadelphia 2 times out ago. 4 1/3 innings, allowed 9 earned runs. Outside of that, he has been very, very good. And the first pitch is ball 1 to Billy Hamilton, and we are underway at Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All the Reds had a very quiet series in New York, including Hamilton, who only had 1 base hit. Foot race to the bag. Peralta gets there.
Believe it or not, this action at first base was about almost as much as Billy Hamilton had all weekend. He continually put the ball up in the air for pop-ups, a lot of easy outs. That was a play right there that you know immediately if you're the first baseman Mark Reynolds, you dish it off to the pitcher.
Oh, and 1 is Skip Schumacher, a .248 batter with a home run and 15 runs batted in. Schumacher activated off the disabled list prior to the game yesterday. He was on the 7-day DL after suffering that concussion. And he had a good day at the plate. Was on base 3 times. Struck out his first time up, but then he walked, had an RBI double, and then singled in the 8th inning. Unfortunately, was picked off at first base in front of a home run by Frazier, which tied the game in the 8th inning before the Yankees won it in the bottom of the 9th. 1-2 to Schumacher. And a hard hit ball finds a hole into left field, a base hit. Let's take a look at Ron Renicke's team, presented by your Ford dealers in Milwaukee defense. Pretty much a regular cast of characters day in and day out. Gomez, an all-star. Aramis Ramirez, an all-star. Jonathan Lucroy, an all-star. In fact, all 3 of those players, not only on the National League All-Star team, all 3 were starters for the National League. Gomez and Aramis Ramirez were voted in, and then Lucroy replaced the injured leading vote getter, Cardinals' Yadier Molina. Now Todd Frazier. And a fastball is in there, a strike. David Rackley, the home plate umpire tonight. Brian Gorman at first. Chris Siegel at second base, and Tony Randazzo, the umpire, at third. Beautiful night, 83 degrees. Warmer certainly than the last time we were here. But the last time we were here, beautiful sunny skies 3 days in a row, and they had the roof closed. Tonight, wide open. 1-1 to Todd Frazier.
Well, Willie Peralta presents a little different type of pitcher that he will be tonight than what the Reds saw in New York against the Yankees. The Yankees, 2 guys that moved the ball around a little bit, weren't overpowering. None of them really threw anywhere close to as hard as Peralta throws.
Double play ball the way here. And the top of the first inning comes to an end. A hit, nobody left. Matt Latos will make his 3rd start against Milwaukee when we return. as a Major League Baseball manager, all of them here with the Milwaukee Brewers. And his lineup tonight presented by Meyer. Gomez in center, back in the leadoff spot. Jeanette having an excellent year in the 2-hole. Ryan Braun in right. Ramos Ramirez at third. Jonathan Lucroy catching. Logan Schaefer in left. Mark Reynolds at first baseman. Gene Segura at short. And Willie Peralta on the mound. Matt Latos came off the disabled list on June the 14th. The Reds were here in Milwaukee. He went 6 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball. Had a blown save behind him. And that would be the only game the Reds would lose in that 3-game weekend series in mid-June.
And the numbers on him are pretty impressive for Matt Latos. Even though his fastball has not gotten up to where it was last year, he's found a way to get hitters out. A 176 batting average against. He doesn't walk anybody. He has a good strikeout ratio there. He keeps the ball in the ballpark. And, you know, you're wondering if maybe the backache that Matt Latos left the game with his last time out is going to bother him at all. Hopefully not. That's one reason why Brian Price pushed both Matt Latos and Homer Bailey back in the rotation a little bit. Give them a few extra days. He had a bullpen without incident, Latos did. And I don't think they expect any problems here this evening. He's only had 3 starts on the road, Latos has, and that earned run average, man, that could not be better. 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. He has been a road warrior for the Reds here in 2014.
And those were 3 of his first 4 starts after coming off the disabled list. Here in Milwaukee, pitched a home game, his only bad start. That was against Toronto. But then 7 innings, 1 run in Chicago, got a win. And lost against his former team, allowing 1 hit and 1 run in a 1-0 defeat. Ball 1 to Carlos Gomez. Latos' second game against the Brewers this year. He went 8 innings, allowed 2 runs. Reds won that game. Latos won that game in a 4-2 decision. Gomez, an all-star in back-to-back years. Last season, his first. And in the starters we mentioned this year. When we saw him, Chris, while the Brewers were in Milwaukee, they had Gomez batting in the middle of the lineup. But now they've gone back to where they began the year with Gomez leading off and Ryan Braun back in that 3-hole. Bunted right back to Latos. 1 out. Reds on defense tonight, presented by your Ford dealers. Donald Lutz getting the nod over at first, pushing Frazier back over to third. And Chris, no Jay Bruce tonight. Are you surprised by that?
Well, no, I'm not really surprised. Jay Bruce looked like he was all out of whack during that 3-game series in New York. And I know the argument can be made, well, he just had 4 days off or so during the All-Star break. Why would you give him more time off right now? I think maybe a mental day to get him away from trying to do too much because he was flying open horribly. Right now he's become a very easy out. And I think Brian Price is thinking maybe a day off would help Bruce and help the ball club.
Scooter Gennett has been red hot for the better part of a month and a half. He has its season batting average up over 300. 8 home runs, 34 batted in to go along with 22 doubles. Over the last 44 games, he has been a .344 batter. But he has been one of the few Brewers swinging a good bat. This is a team that has lost 16 of its last 19 games. When they came to Great American Ballpark a month ago, they lost the final game of a series against Colorado when they were going for a series sweep. They lost 2 of 3 to the Reds over the weekend, starting this string of 3 wins against 16 losses. Fly ball to left center, and Hamilton will make the play. 2 gone in the inning. And their lead since that trip to Cincinnati has gone from 6.5 to a tie. Great start, best start in franchise history. This month has been a disaster.
When you only win 3 games and lose 12 after winning 19 in April and then 18 in June, you're looking at a chance to lose close to 20 games in this month of July. So they went from having a very comfortable lead to just hanging on by their fingernails right now, while everybody else in the division has been able to essentially catch them. They're in a dead heat with St. Louis, and there's only a 2.5 game spread between the Pirates and the Reds behind them.
2 down for Ryan Braun. And Latos ahead, strike 1. Base hit.
That's something that doesn't very often happen against Matt Latos with Ryan Braun in the batter's box. You know, there are a few Brewers that have given Matt Latos some trouble in the past, but Braun is not one of them. He came into this ball game having only 2 hits in 20 at bats. But he gets a pitch that Latos pretty much lays belt high down Broadway and puts a good swing on it. Of course, Braun is hot right now too. He's got an 8-game hitting streak. 12 for 31 during that particular streak. So it's always good to know who's swinging the hot bat. Those are the guys you do not want to make a mistake to.
Ryan Braun, 9 stolen bases in 12 attempts. Oh, and 1 on the cleanup hitter, third baseman Aramis Ramirez, putting together another Aramis Ramirez-like year. Batting in the 280s, 287 to be exact, 11 home runs, 45 runs batted in, and that includes a trip to the disabled list. This guy has been an outstanding player for a long, long time, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. Foul territory for the big man. And Lutz has it to end the inning. So Latos allows a hit, 1 left, end of 1, no score. $1 million with MLB.com's easy and free game. It's called Beat the Streak. It's a fun game. It's easy. You pick players to get hits in 57 straight games. You don't have to pick the same guy. You can pick any player you want, any game you want. So you can look at matchups and how a guy does against a pitcher against his team that night. It provides all that info for you. You can play MLB.com Beat the Streak today. My streak came to an end yesterday. You have the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Chicago Cubs.
Well,
I picked Paul Goldschmidt, right? Starlin Castro. You figure the pitching's not all that great for either one of those teams. Neither one of them gets a base hit.
So who are you going with tonight?
I haven't done it yet. But they lock you out of games that have already started. So it would have to be a game that'll start a little bit later on.
So Ryan Braun is off your list.
Yeah, and I was going to go with Schumacher tonight after he swung the bat so well yesterday, and I was late to the trigger. Heisey hit with a pitch. And that's the way the scoreless game starts in the second inning. And W. Meserosto, I beg your pardon, forgive me. I was saying about Heisey in that game, beat the streak. I know who I'm going with tonight. I'm going later tonight with Miguel Cabrera.
Oh, good bet. But you pick one or you pick two?
Only pick one. You can double down if you want.
I got you.
So I'm going with Miguel Cabrera tonight. I couldn't get in on the Reds game. I was too late. Right now, Donald Lutz. He got to start over the weekend against the New York Yankees in the DH spot. Went 1 out of 3 in that Saturday game, and his hit was a double in the left center field. One ball and one strike. The 6'3", 250-pound New Yorker born, but German-raised Lutz. Four hits and 19 at-bats overall, and has a pair of doubles. I tell you, watching this guy, and I know you were down there, Chris, you watch this guy take BP. It is scary.
Strong. Very, very strong.
There's a Tapper foul off Peralta, 1-2 to Lutz.
You know, and if you consider where Donald Lutz hasn't been playing baseball all that long, he's not like an American kid who came up, you know, from age 4 or 5 years old playing. He didn't play it until he was a teenager. And he's a little bit raw from that standpoint. But I think because of that, and he's facing somewhat of a raw pitcher tonight in Willie Peralta, that it's kind of stuff versus stuff right here. Lutz versus Peralta gives a little better opportunity, I think, than a wily veteran like a Kuroda that the Reds faced yesterday in New York.
1-2 on Lutz. Struck him out. First strike of the game for Willie Peralta, one away in the inning.
Now look at fastball getting something other than, and that was probably I'm not sure if it was a slider or a changeup. I'm not sure really what pitch that Willie Peralta throws at 90 miles an hour. He averages almost 97 miles an hour on one of his fastballs. That may have been a changeup there that he overthrew a little bit, but he got Donald Lutz chasing it down in the dirt.
So now Chris Heisey, 4 home runs, 13 runs batted in, and he's behind strike one. Heisey 0 for 4 yesterday, 1 of 4, including the solo home run on Saturday, and he had 2 hits and 4 at-bats in the series opener Friday night. Reds trying to get off this 6-game losing streak on the road. They had played so well away from home until they lost the final 3 road games, you may recall, in San Diego. Had the 8-3 homestand, and following the All-Star break, now 0-3, starting in the Bronx. Dodgers are often blasting the Pirates tonight. It's already 5-0 Dodgers in that game. That's Edinson Volquez for Pittsburgh. And Ryu, the left-hander, a 10-game winner, on the mound tonight for Don Mattingly's team. Cardinals are off. They will open a 2-game series tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Rays. There's a very odd scheduling quirk. Here you have 4 days off for the All-Star break. The Cardinals play 3 games over the weekend. They're off today, and they're off again on Thursday. Two and two.
You know, one of the things we get treated to tonight, especially with the use of our center field cameras, to watch one of the better catchers in the league in Jonathan Lucroy behind home plate. Just watch how quiet he is back there, how he frames pitches, how when he moves from inside to outside, it's not with a big sudden movement or jumping from one side to another. He gets low, gives the umpire a good look at the strike zone. And he gives the pitcher the chance to hit a target that's not moving. And I think that's really important, especially for a young guy like Willie Peralta.
A good eye there by Heisey. Peralta trying to get him to chase that pitch in the dirt on 2-2. So now 3-2. And here it comes. Runner goes. And it's taken ball 4. Pretty good at bat right there by Heisey. A patient at bat, to be certain, after falling behind in the count. And now, strangely enough, you have a role player on your team who's finally getting a chance to play regularly for the first time all year long in Ramon Santiago. And he comes to the plate right now as your best hitter. And I mean right now, over the last 10 days. 8-game hitting streak, nearly a .500 batter during it. And he's 1 game shy of a career high. Fastball in there, strike 1. A hit batter and a walk, and the Reds are knocking on the door here in the top of the 2nd inning. Fly ball short center field, and Gomez has it for the 2nd out of the inning.
Willie, now 25 years old, made his debut a few years ago when he was 22. He's from a town called Santa Barbara de Samana in the Dominican Republic. Signed by the Brewers as a free agent in 2006.
Routine ground ball to short on the first pitch of the at-bat to Cozart. That'll end the inning. Reds strand 2, no score.
Prizes and possibly appear on Reds Live on Friday at Reds Fan Camp. Join us at the Holy Grail at 6 p.m. for all the fun. I'm Jim Day. Some of you out there might be asking the question. A team which over the weekend had a bench consisting of 3 rookies and a team in the Reds that needs some offensive help. Why does this team continue to carry 8 relievers? Well, the answer was very simple today from manager Brian Price, and it half involves the guy on the mound right now, being Matt Lato. Latos, of course, went into the All-Star break with back issues. Homer Bailey pitches tomorrow, went into the break with knee issues. So just in case one of those guys has that injury flare up again, they want to be loaded for bear in the bullpen. That's why they continue to carry 8 relievers through this series. Tom?
Thank you, Jim Day. Latos a good start in the first inning. He allowed a 2-out single to Ryan Braun, but got Aramis Ramirez on a foul ball to Donald Lutz. So Lucroy, Logan Schaefer, and then Mark Reynolds, a scheduled trio for the Brewers here in the second inning. No score in the game. Reds have dominated this Brewers team so far this year. It's no guarantee it stays that way, as we know. But going back to a 3-game Brewers sweep in Cincinnati in September of 2011, the Reds have won or tied 10 of the last 14 series against this Brewers team. And they have really taken it to them this year. They've taken it to everybody in the division this year except for the Cardinals. The Reds are 10-0-1 in 11 series against the NL Central. The only tie was a 2-game split with the Cubs. They won the other 3 against Chicago, 3-0 against Milwaukee. They are 4-0 in series against Pittsburgh, but 0-3 against St. Louis. Ron Renicky very upset with his team after their loss in the rubber game of a series yesterday in D.C. Fundamental breakdowns on the base pass in the field cost them the game late after they had tied the game in the top of the 9th inning on a Ricky Weeks base hit. But Weeks made a base running mistake on a trail runner's part of a double steal. Was thrown out behind Carlos Gomez. And then the left fielder, Chris Davis, missed a cutoff man. Not only that, the trail on the cutoff was not there, allowing the winning run to score in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Are you talking about the Reds or the Brewers?
Good question.
Insert your favorite team here. So both these managers have seen some pretty bad baseball recently. Although the Reds are 8-8 in July and the Brewers are 3-12.
As we brought up earlier, the Brewers lost their last 4 games in June. So 3 wins in your last 19.
Yeah, we could also go back to what you were talking about and how the Reds have won series from the Brewers. But, you know, the record overall, if you go back to 2011, it's pretty close. The Reds were 8-8 in 2011. They were 9-6 in 2012. Last year they were 10-9 against the Brewers. So it's not like you own them the way that the Brewers, for instance, have owned the Pittsburgh Pirates this year.
Yes.
But you play winning baseball against the Brewers, and that's normally saying something because that's normally a pennant contending team.
So the pop up to Lutz takes care of Lucroy. Now it's Schaefer.
Very good at bat right there for Matt Latos. Well, Latos, one thing he does, and it really doesn't matter whether he's throwing hard or not, he is able to control that first base side of home plate. And when you're a right-handed hitter and you know that right-handed pitcher can go low and away at will, That makes it a tough challenge. Here's a guy that's done really well against Latos, though, in his career. Only 9 at bats, but 4 hits.
Schaefer an even 200 batter without a home run and 6 runs batted in. Latos has jumped ahead of him 0-2. Now tries to finish him off, which he does. First strikeout of the night for big Matt Latos. Take a look at the ITS bringing the energy. How good have the Red starters been all year, but in particular against this division rival Milwaukee team?
Well, you know, the Brewers don't want to see these guys because there's no weak link right there. 10 starts overall. The starters have earned a 5-2 record. Really good earned run average, way better than league average. 8 quality starts out of those 10 total. That is running out guys that are getting the job done.
This will be a fly ball into right center field. Hamilton waving off Schumacher, and big Matt Latos picking him up, laying him down early. Is he limping off the mound? He is limping back to the dugout. Ohio fan photo, and perhaps we'll have it on the air during an upcoming telecast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Now, Chris, it was noticeable Matt Latos was limping back to the dugout. Let's see if there's anything that happened after he threw this pitch.
Well, he looks back at the mound right there, as you see, and maybe he slipped. You know, he's had some, I guess he turned his ankle over during one of his rehabs, right? He is limping a little bit coming off the mound. Hopefully that is more like a little stinger and goes away.
And naturally, he's the guy that's leading off the inning. And he takes strike one. Jim Day, any word down there?
No word, but I watched him the whole time. He's leading off the inning, obviously, and normally you go right to the on-deck circle to do that. He sat on the bench and at one point was kind of kicking his left leg up, which we've seen before. It looked like he was trying to stretch out his back. Now, I don't have any confirmation on that, just watching him and watching the body language, that it was definitely bothering him, but not a trainer did not see him in between the half innings. So we'll see what happens. He's definitely laboring a little bit.
Jim Day right on the spot down there. Two and two. Willie Peralta had some control issues in the second inning. He hit a batter, he walked a batter, but got out of trouble. Getting Santiago on a 1-out fly ball to center and Cozart on a ground ball to short to end the inning. And after getting ahead 0-2 on Latos, he has now run the count full. Well, you brought it up earlier, Raw. You watch this guy, he's like a young colt.
And if he stays healthy, he'll be around a long time, because he's got 2++ pitches, and that's a fastball that his average is 96. But he's got to have the right zip code, and he walks the opposing pitcher to start the inning off.
And that was after getting ahead 0-2. Of course, now you bring in the factor of Latos perhaps having to run in this inning.
That would just be a little bit of irony right there. Certainly not forward thinking by Willie Peralta.
Now Billy Hamilton.
That's what you hope to stay away from right there. And I know Billy, he struggled in the series against the Yankees. You know, you're trying to get it going. You're trying to maybe hit your way out of a slump, and you're so anxious up there, and you chase a pitch you have no chance of putting the bat on.
Hamilton bounced out to Reynolds, the first baseman, his first time up. And he'll do it again. He has started his second half the way he started the year. Seemingly, Chris, swinging at every thrown ball to the plate.
Very anxious, you're right. You know, that was kind of an interesting play by Mark Reynolds right there. I mean, it's not like Latos got a big jump, so maybe the Brewers have answered the question ahead of time. What would you rather have? Matt Latos on second or Billy Hamilton on first?
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Because Billy won't be at first all that long.
Not after Peralta gives up a stolen base, and he gives up a bunch of them. And then you may think about him stealing third or scoring on an infield hit.
Now Schumacher, he has the only Reds hit, singled into left field in the opening inning. And now Latos will be able to run down to third, and he appears to be moving pretty well.
Well, Billy Hamilton couldn't have done any better.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
In 2 pitches, he goes from first to second, then second to third. And Jonathan Lucroy just covering up the defense right there.
And now, Chris, through all of these offensive struggles for the Reds in these first 3 games after the break, where they have struck out over 30 times, they've only walked 3 times. It is very evident that Peralta is having an enormously tough time finding the strike zone here tonight.
Well, let's see how Skip Schumacher handles that, because of all the guys in the lineup,
yeah,
I mean, he's got as good an idea about a game plan as any of them.
Now he has a runner at third. He's looking for something to get into the air and drive it. And he'll take down low 2-0.
Or Peralta throwing hard but laboring. I mean, the way he's coming off the mound right now, looks like his windup is going all over the place. Not compact at all.
Big at bat here for the Reds. And now 3-0 on Schumacher.
You know, really on the season, too, Peralta hasn't been all that wild. Comes into this ball game having walked 31 batters in 118 innings. His walks are way down this year compared to last year.
3-1 to Schumacher. The Reds did not have a lead once during the 3 days in New York. They're trying to jump on the board first here in Game 1 tonight.
Well, they never had a lead in San Diego either, right?
I don't think they did. High bouncer. Here comes Latos. Segura. What a pick. And throws him out. And the Reds don't have the lead tonight.
Latos had a very short lead at first base, but he saw that ball go way up in the air, and he's going to put the pressure on the Brewers defense. And Segura makes the play. I'm not so sure that Segura gets Schumacher at first base on that, but well played by the Milwaukee shortstop.
Yeah, the Reds have run into a ton of outs at home plate this year with fewer than 2 outs in an inning. Chris, walk us all through, because I've never been a base runner at third. What is the conversation? And I know it depends on the runner, but let's use Latos as the example. What is the conversation with the third base coach there?
Well, first of all, the infield was in, so you want to make him aware of that. And I doubt that it wasn't a contact play. It was a situation where you are going to go if that ball goes by the pitcher and into the outfield, number one. If it's hit right at somebody, you're staying at third base. That's why Matt was so close to the third base bag. But when he saw that ball go very high, I think he just acted on his own. I don't think that was part of the conversation that he may have had with Steve Smith prior to. That if you get a Baltimore chop right here, you head for home. I don't think that they talked about that. I think Smith probably told him, you're staying here until the ball goes into the outfield. You know, it varies for every base runner. It varies for the way the defense is. I mean, Latos knows the infield is playing in. I think he's just trying to make something happen.
By the way, happy birthday to Steve Smith, the Reds third base coach. 62nd birthday today. Happy birthday. Two and one to Todd Frazier. And in fairness to Latos, Schumacher would love to have that 3-1 pitch back again. You have a runner at third, fewer than 2 men out. You expect to get the run in. "22 strikes, 20 balls thrown by Peralta. And this will end the inning. No score.
Forward to our Miller Time moment coming up later in the broadcast. Scoreless ball game, bottom of the third inning. Matt Latos and Willie Peralta hooked up in one right here. Each team has one hit. Reds Unable to push a run across, even though they had a runner at third base and 1 out last inning. And Latos now will face 8, 9, and 1 in the Brewers order.
Gene Segura will lead things off for the Brewers in the bottom half of the third inning. Segura is playing for the first time here at home tonight, Chris, since just a tragic news the last time they were here of losing his little boy and infant son. And I'm sure there are some folks out there that are watching tonight who sadly have gone through a similar situation. Boy, God bless them all. Can't imagine.
Well, he got a long ovation his first time back, and that's when the Brewers were playing in Washington at Nationals Park. And he was very appreciative of that. His 9-month-old son, Daniel, died back in the Dominican Republic. Very tough time for this young man.
Yeah, the Brewers were playing a game here that night. And when the game came to an end, Ron Renicky, the Brewers manager, had to come outside as that ball is smoked in the right center field. And that will bounce up against the wall. Segura can really run. And he will slam on the brakes. And now he's coming to third. And he's hit with a throw. And did Latos try to kick that ball? He did. And they're going to award the runner home plate. You're not allowed to do that.
I don't think he got it anyway. I think it went into the dugout.
Boy, they had him out because he stopped around second base. Had the throw not hit it. But it did, and then trickles into the Reds dugout. That'll be a triple and an error to give Milwaukee a 1-0 lead.
Well, right at the end of this play, Segura around second base, and then he stops and then decides to go ahead. That's why he was so far from the bag right there. But the angle of the throwing lane came right at the same angle of the runner, and it hit Segura in the foot, bounces into the Reds dugout, down the dugout steps, and the Brewers get the first run of the game. Oh, it didn't go down the steps. It looked like it went down the steps. It just routed him around down there and
popped back up.
Popped back up.
Yeah. Well, they'll hang the air, I'm sure, on Santiago. He made the relay throw. But unfortunately hit Segura on the foot. And the Brewers out to the 1-0 lead. And now the pitcher Peralta, count of 2-1. Peralta only 2 hits in 33 at bats. Now Latos taking an extra minute. He's fallen behind 3-1 on the opposing pitcher. And a strike 2. Of course, Peralta walked Latos to begin the top of this third inning. Still 3-2. for Peralta, who has done nothing with the bat. He is really making Latos work. Got ahead 3-1, went to 3-2. And now a couple of foul balls on payoff pitches will force another. And yet another. Ninth pitch in this at bat. And it's still not concluded. Pitch number 10 to Peralta. How about that?
You talk about earning a base hit. That might be one of the best at bats by a pitcher I've seen all year long. He looked a little more like Matt Carpenter than he did like Willie Peralta.
So a triple and error to begin the inning, allowing the Brewers to get in front 1-0, and now a 10-pitch at bat, capped off with a single by Peralta. And now the top of the order in Gomez. And there's another hit.
Yeah, this might not be a bad time for Jeff Pico to take a little run out to the mound right here just to try to change the energy of the inning. Remember, it was Latos that was thrown out at the plate after running the bases, walking off the mound previous to that with a, looks like a sore ankle or a sore leg sometime. He has a long at bat against the pitcher, finally gives up a base hit to Peralta, gives up a base hit right there. And he just kind of needs a change of energy.
Well, no visit to the mound. Now, Devin Mesoraco did go out. Well, the Reds very much believe that Scooter Gennett is going to bunt. He leads his team by a long shot among the position players. No, I beg your pardon. Segura has one more. Segura has 8 and Gennett has 7 sacrifices this year. No sign of a sacrifice on ball 1 away.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that the Brewers are going to do that here, Tom. You know, it's not like this is late in the ball game or we're 1-0 in the 8th inning. I think the Brewers are a team that like to put a lot of runs on the board. They play more of an American League style than a lot of American League teams do.
And let's face it, this is also one of their hottest hitters right now, and has been for a long time in Gennett. Fly ball left center. Now will Peralta tag? Hamilton caught it flat-footed. Here comes Peralta, and the throw is offline.
Well, Carlos Gomez likes it. He was the trailing runner and ended up going to second base when he saw the throw go to third. You know, I believe on that play right there, had you been able to hit the cutoff man, you still would have had a chance to get the pitcher at third base. But normally Billy Hamilton's throws are right on the money. Just a little bit off the mark that time, cost him a base.
And now you have second and third, 1 out in the inning, and Ryan Braun, the batter. He singled into left field his first time up. Other part about hitting that cutoff man is even if he doesn't throw to third base, you keep Gomez in line for a potential double play. Strike one to Braun.
Now the Reds will give up a run in exchange for an out here. They're playing the infield back. Probably anybody but back to the pitcher or Todd Frazier. They'll go to first base for the out.
Of course, Ryan Braun back again for the Brewers after being suspended the last couple of months of last season for being involved in the biogenesis scandal. Batting average has been very, very good. And nothing wrong with 12 home runs and 54 batted in. And 2 now to Ryan Braun, second and third and one out. Laced into left. And that'll go to the wall. 2 runs are going to score on a double by Ryan Braun. 3-0 Milwaukee.
Coming on an 0-2 pitch, right before the pitch, Evan Mesoraco hit his glove on the ground and said, I want that slider on the dirt. And it was just a little bit above that. Didn't look like all that bad of a pitch, but it was hit on such a line that it completely fooled Chris Heisey. He came in, the ball went over his head, and the Brewers have punched across 3 in this inning.
And still only 1 out. And the middle of the lineup coming up.
Now Leto's just looking for a break.
Ramirez fouled out to Donald Lutz his first time up. And now Ramirez hit with a pitch. Six batters in this inning, and 5 of them have reached base. And now Jeff Pico will come to the mound.
Well, the good part for Ramirez, it did not get him on his hand as I originally thought it did. Got him more on his forearm right there. Of course, it still hurts, but no lasting damage. That ball really was not all that far off the plate either. You get a right-handed hitter that's kind of spinning towards the baseball. That back arm of his can only be just a few inches off the plate. Well, Leto's got to be thinking, what more can happen to me? My last start, I threw a 1-hitter and lost. Gave up 1 hit. Lost to the Padres. Then you have the All-Star break. Came out with a bad back his last start as a start before in San Diego. And then the way this inning is unfolded, just kind of weird. An 11 pitch at bat to Willie Peralta. Finally gets one on the end of the bat up the middle. Seemingly thrown out of third, but the throw off line. The left fielder misplays a line drive. They would only scored 1.
Fly ball in a short left center field, handled by Heisey. And the runner stay put, 2 away in the inning.
How about that? The pitcher tags and goes to third, but Ryan Braun won't.
Leto's still looking for his first win in his ballpark. He should have had it his first start against him this year. That's when he left the game after shutting him out in his first start in the year.
Well, 5 starts, 6 total runs of support.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Look at that opponent's batting average. So now Logan Schaefer, the left fielder, he is the 8th man to bat in what has been a 3-run Brewers 3rd inning. Braun and Ramirez aboard. Popped up. Who wants it? Hamilton will get there, and that'll end the inning. 3 runs, 4 hits, and an error. Apparently a real hot shot at Papa Shot. Bengals looking back. Jeremy Hill had a hilarious reaction to his Madden rating. That's a video game. And LeBron James, watch him cheer on his son at a hoops tournament in Lexington over the weekend. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Well, they like that Jeremy Hill. Good looking back out of LSU. Reds down 3-0. Devin Mesoraco, Donald Lutz, Chris Heisey against Peralta, who once again has started this inning the way he's gone the last 2 innings. When you give him a chance to pitch himself into some trouble, he's done it with some wildness. He's walked 2, he's hit a batter, he's thrown 1 more strike than he's thrown balls. 2-1 to Mesoraco. Devin hitting a bump in the road really for the first time all year long, an extended bump in the road. But he is not alone. .95 with movement. 2-2.
You wonder if you don't take advantage of a pitcher like Peralta when he's just about ready to bend and break there. Getting wild in the 2nd inning, and then again in the 3rd inning. And you let him get his feet on the ground, and now he's all of a sudden feeling good about himself. His team has scored 3 runs in support. They scored 11 runs in his last ball game. That was on the Sunday right before the All-Star break against the Cardinals. And boy, did the Brewers ever need that game.
Oh, boy. They had lost 11 of 12 before getting that win. Three and two on Devin Mesoraco.
Well, he started out very fine there in April and May. Look at the earned run averages here.
But again, that's really one start. That is not telling the real story on Peralta in June and July. He gave up 9 runs in 4 innings in 1 game. You look at the other outings. In June, 6 innings, gave up 4. 7 innings, gave up none. And so when you give up 9 in 4 innings,
that'll do it to you.
It'll look ugly. That was during a stretch where the Brewers were having a hard time getting any length out of a starter. There's a line drive at the second baseman for the second out of the inning. And Ron Renicky felt terrible about it, but he had to leave Peralta out there to at least get him into the 5th. And that was a game where actually the Brewers got back into the game. They were behind big early and came back and lost that game to Philadelphia 9-7. First 2 retired here in the Reds' 4th inning. Heisey walked his first time up. Back-to-back breaking balls to get ahead 0-2. Well, they figure they got Heisey to chase on the first pitch in the at-bat. And this time he doesn't.
Now that's his main weapon, Peralta. And he really essentially throws whatever the Jonathan Lucroy puts down there as the sign.
Inning over. 1-2-3 for the first time in a game by Willie Peralta. His team with a 3-0 lead. JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota for over 30. Toyota offers. Visit buyatoyota.com. And go for the Save on Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs with specially priced wings all day. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Statue of Hammer and Hank Aaron. Outside the ballpark here in Milwaukee. Of course, last time we were here, they unveiled their Wall of Honor, where they brought back many of the greats in Brewers franchise history. It was a fun weekend. And Hank Aaron was here for that. Saw him at the Major League Baseball All-Star game on TV when he was sitting alongside Commissioner Bud Selig during the game. In the hole at short, Cozart throws out Mark Reynolds. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, thank you very much on that to Mark Reynolds.
Well, you can catch up with Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds during this entire year. And why not get on board now with MLB.TV Premium? Visit Reds.com for details. Mel Latos could certainly use a quick bottom of the 4th inning. And to face 8 batters, gave up 3 runs. First scored off the bat of this man, Gene Segura. That triple into right center field, and the throw to third hit him in the foot, went into the dugout. And I misspoke earlier, by the way, when I brought up about you can't kick the ball. You can't throw your glove at the ball.
Correct.
You can kick it if you had to. Of course, the most memorable kick in Reds history was by Paul O'Neill. There's a base hit into right field. I was doing that game that night with Johnny Bench. On a base hit into right, looked like it would be the game-ending hit, but the runner fell down. Rounding third, O'Neill in frustration after juggling the ball a couple of times, kicked the ball right to the cutoff man. It was incredible. Everybody's seen the highlight of it, but to be there that night, it was unbelievable. Runner takes off, and it's bunted by Peralta, tagged out by Mesoraco.
Guy can do it all.
The rare 2 unassisted sacrifice. Now Gomez, who's bunted back to Latos, and then singled and scored into 3-run third. High fly ball. Heisey has no idea where it is. And I tell you what, this house of horrors continues for the Reds on this road trip. They have been the best defensive team in the league all year long, and they have fallen apart on defense on this trip. That'll be a ground rule double.
Ron Ranick is going to go out and find out whether Heisey pushed this ball over the fence with his glove. He doesn't see it. And I don't think he ever got his glove on it.
It looked like it had already hit off the top of the wall.
No. You know, it's that time of night where you see balls that go above the lights lost by outfielders fairly often. And that ball was simply golfed by Carlos Gomez. It was a low pitch that he went down and gave a golf swing on it. Went straight up in the air. They're going to review it anyway.
And this is not a managerial challenge. on the play or appealed. They can just look at these like they would on, is it a home run or did it hit off the top of the wall? Is it a fair ball or a foul ball?
I think he's tired of having a spotlight on him.
Should have been a third out of the inning. And it's a double. Of course, no one feels worse about it than Heisey does. It'll be scored, a two-base hit and an RBI for Carlos Gomez. And to make sure that Heisey did not make contact. You can see it hit and make the indentation on top of that wall. 3 runs in the third and 1 here in the fourth. And time called by Scooter Gennett. Strike one.
Pretty quick on an inside pitch is Gennett. Come a long way, Scooter Gennett has, for somebody who was characterized by many scouts as being too small and just a little bit short in a lot of different areas as far as baseball tools.
Rolled over foul, 0-2. Well, he came out and stole that job from Ricky Weeks. Weeks all of a sudden had his career unraveled, and Gennett happened to be the guy there that stepped in, and when he got the chance, he owns that job.
Had it not been for that incredible fall of Ricky Weeks, you wouldn't even know about Scooter Gennett.
No. I mean, Weeks was one of those guys they built this entire franchise around. The runner steals third base without a throw.
That really doesn't matter too much, to be honest with you. I mean, Gomez is now 90 feet away instead of on second base, but the bottom line is you want Todd Frazier to leave your position that early, to make sure you, and Latos wasn't paying attention to him anyway. You need to get the hitter here.
It's a nice play there by Devin Mesoraco to keep that runner at third base.
And if you're Matt Latos, you've got to have confidence in your catcher to be able to throw that pitch in the dirt. I mean, you saw what a good swing that Gennett had on that inside fastball. And ever since then, they've kept the curveball on him. So when you're ahead in the count, you waste it. You want to be able to throw it in the dirt, but you've got to have confidence that your catcher can block it.
Jerk fouled again on the breaking ball down and in. It remains 2-2 on Scooter Gennett. Brewers out to a 4-0 lead. Long way to go. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. make the play.
Wow.
5-0 Milwaukee.
Well, Matt Latos can't buy a break. He should have been out of this inning 2 or 3 batters ago.
Did they score that a hit?
Well, when you backhand it, they give you a hit. When you get in front of it and bobble it, that's when it's an error.
Oh. So that steal a third turns out to be a pretty big deal. Obviously, it was a play that should have been made to end the inning. Gomez stealing third base. That misplay over at first, although scored a hit, allows a 5th Brewers run of the night to come in from third. And now Ryan Braun, 2 out of 2, has singled to left and doubled on a misplay or a misread by Heisey in left on that line drive right at him. It scored 2 runs in the 3rd inning. 1-1 to Ryan Braun. One and two now to Braun. Dodgers at the end of 7, holding a 5-2 lead over the Pirates. But here it's not been a last good couple of innings for the Reds. Brewers have hit the ball hard, but they take an advantage of 3 balls that should have been outs that were not by this Reds defense tonight. 1-2 to count. There goes a runner. And no chance. None.
I think Mesoraco made that a whole lot closer than you would have thought. But he was off to the races. Latos really hasn't checked the runners here in this inning.
Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. 2 more runs. 3 hits. 5-0 Brewers at the end of 4. coming weekend at Great American Ballpark. You buy 4 Reds tickets for $48, you get 4 free Reds hats. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon with the Washington Nationals in town. Come on down to the ballpark. You gotta see it live. Brian Price, an extended visit with a clearly frustrated Matt Latos. Brewers got 3 off of him in the third. It should have been a 2-run inning. They got 2 more in the 4th inning. It should have been a 0-run inning. This should be a 2-0 game. But it ain't.
Yeah, therein lies the frustration.
0-2 on Ramon Santiago, be followed by Zach Cozart and Matt Latos. And a breaking ball down low. 8-game hitting streak for Ramon Santiago. He flied out to center field his first time up. How about those numbers the last 10 days for Ramon Santiago? Good for him. Fastball by Willie Peralta. And another foul ball to stay alive.
So far inside, though, there's really no way you can put the bat head on it and keep it fair. Peralta is one of those rare pitchers that throws very hard, but he throws it almost exclusively to seam fastballs. Not exclusively, but he likes to keep everything down. Gets a lot of ground balls.
And he gets one there to his shortstop for the first out here in the 5th inning.
And normally when pitchers throw hard, I mean, they go up the ladder, they get a lot of fly balls, and it's one of the intriguing things about Willie Peralta. There you see his ground ball rate, almost 56%. That's the 3rd highest in the National League. Really an interesting story on Willie Peralta growing up as a young man, and as I said, in Samana, Dominican Republic, which, if you don't know anything about the geography of Dominican Republic, it's a little tip of a peninsula. They're in the top northeast part of the island. A fishing village, known also for agricultural. He left home when he was 11 years old because there was really no baseball to speak of. He never owned a baseball glove until he was 11 years old. He moved in with his uncle. Went to the large town of Santo Domingo. And there he lived with his uncle. Prior to that, every time he threw, he would throw lemons and used a milk carton as a glove.
It's incredible, so many of those stories you hear of those youngsters growing up in the Dominican.
Missed his mother terribly, and he would call home, and she would ask him, "Do you enjoy playing baseball?" And he said, "Yes, will you stick with it?" And when he was 14 or 15 years old is when he was first discovered by a Milwaukee Brewers scout, Fernando Arango. And when he was 16, the legal age at which you have to be nowadays to sign a pro contract, that's when the Brewers signed him. And He's worked his way through the system to make his major league debut at age 22. And now at 25 has become one of the studs in their rotation.
And Chris, you've been down there. I mean, we know we have terrible poverty in a lot of the inner cities and in the country, Appalachia and so forth, around the United States. It is a whole new level of poverty when you go to a third world country like the Dominican Republic.
Oh, you're right. But when someone like Willie Peralta or Johnny Cueto, for instance, makes it to the major leagues, it's akin to being a national hero. I mean, the entire town watches these games. They live and die by the performances of these players that have become their favorite sons. And there's so many that have the dream. I mean, when you're down in the Dominican, you're driving around the streets, and you see boys going to baseball fields everywhere. They've got their equipment. I mean, I say equipment. It's a glove or a bat over their shoulders, and they're going to ball fields that we wouldn't even think about playing baseball on here. And they're practicing hours and hours every day with the hope of getting off the island and becoming a famous ball player.
Bouncer back to the mound, and Peralta starting to get it together. He was retired 9 in a row. Brewers will bat in the bottom of the 5th inning, and they lead 5-0.
Here on Fox Sports Ohio. Check out Reds Live, the pregame edition. First look at the lineups, features, interviews, so much more. It's Reds Live is presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And this week on Reds Weekly, we'll break down the race in the Central Division, catch up with Reds all-time saves leader Danny Graves, and look back on the best moments from the first half of the season. It's all on Reds Weekly, Wednesday at 6, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. Got a lot of questions about Brandon Phillips and him coming back from ligament surgery in that left hand. Brian Price did give an update today. He was finally cleared to run today and do some light working out. He was able to throw, not catch, because it is his left hand, his catching hand, and he's beginning slight movement with that left hand. But I do have to say that he is weeks away and perhaps a month, so his return is not imminent. And people around here are glad they don't see Phillips, because they call him the Brewers killer in this ballpark. 301 career average, 9 bombs, 49 runs driven in 65 games, and boy, do the Reds miss him.
Yeah, and Jim, it seems like there is actually zero news. I mean, there's not even whispers, there's not even rumors, there is just nothing And you correct me if I'm wrong, if you've been able to gather anything else in regard to Joey Votto.
Well, he did give us an update today, and it involves stuff that I'm really not familiar with. In fact, I had to look it up. He got his second injection recently of PRP. It's platelet-rich plasma. It's kind of a new thing going around. Big-time athletes like Tiger Woods and Rafael Nadal. Now, Joey Votto, it helps speed up injuries, particularly tendon injuries. The platelets have a lot of protein in there, and it helps speed up that healing process. I'm not a doctor, but he got that second injection today, or at least within the last couple of days, so they're hoping that speeds up the process, but no timetable whatsoever for Joe.
All right, thank you for that update. By the way, they changed that scoring decision back on the Jeanette ball. It is now ruled an error.
It's a better decision.
It's an error on Donald Lutz. They did not change the ruling on the Heisey ball that he lost in the lights, because obviously he lost the ball in the lights.
Just like losing the ball in the sun. I've always thought there ought to be some kind of a scoring exception for that play. Where lose a ball in the sun, shouldn't penalize the pitcher for the sun being bright. You shouldn't really be able to penalize the player for giving him an error. And even on that ball that Ramon Santiago threw to third base that hits the runner in the Segura in the feet. The throw was right on the money. It's one of those unearned errors that you get anyway.
Catchers get them all the time on throws of would-be base stealers. Santiago taking charge of that pop-up in the short right field and makes a catch. 2 up, 2 down for Latos. He's trying to grind his way through all this. It has to be very tough. Chris, you've been out there. Nights like tonight have to be really tough to maintain your focus.
Well, the hardest part about it is that you think that you've waited so long, in Matt Latos' case, what, 6 days or so to more than that, I guess, since he last pitched. And he's going to have to wait another 5 days to come back out there. You know, if you have a bad night as a position player, you go right back out the next night and get him. But when you're a starting pitcher, you dwell on this and you wonder, well, okay, what could I could have done differently in that ball game, in this at bat to Peralta, or the base hit to Segura. You go over and over how this one bad break led to this one, and all of a sudden you're down by 5.
Down the right field line, and that one will bend foul out of play.
You know, I think that the other thing is that Matt Latos takes his job seriously enough that he really believes that, you know, he can be the stopper. I mean, if it didn't happen yesterday with Johnny Cueto, he said, I'm going to take it on my shoulders and be the guy today.
Well, at the end of 5 right now, he's on the short end of a 5-0 game. Milwaukee. It started in the third inning. On a drive into right center field, it looked like they were going to throw Segura out at third, but the relay throw hit him in the foot. Tripled into the Reds dugout, allowing Segura to score. And that made it a 1-0 game. After a couple of base hits, a line drive, Heisey came in and flew over his head, went for a 2-run double. And then in the fourth inning, on a fly ball, should have been the final out of the inning, Heisey with more trouble, lost it. Ground rule double, and then an error by Donald Lutz allowed another run to score, and the Reds are on the board. A leadoff home run here in the top of the sixth inning by Billy Hamilton to make it a 5-1 game.
Just a get-ahead fastball pretty much right down Broadway. That Fox track shows that as being down the lower part of the zone, but it was really a few inches above the knees, and Billy Hamilton all over it.
That ball's kissed.
You're not kidding. I mean, his other home runs have been pretty much right down the lines.
That's out by that, Toyota territory sign out there. Well, let's see if that can ignite this Reds offense, and it's followed by a base hit down the line by Schumacher. And he is coming to second. Here comes a throw, and he got it there somehow. And Jeanette is saying, take a look at that. Well, that's a gamble there by Schumacher because they had him shaded that way. And down by 4, he takes a gamble, and at least for the time being, he's ruled safe by Chris Segal.
A good bit of hitting. He just keeps his hands inside the ball and just puts a bat head on it. Tell you what, Schaefer does a great job of getting that ball back. I think he's going to, that ruling is going to stand. You wonder what kind of small talk that umpires and managers make at a time like this. I mean, it used to be you go out there and you throw your hat and you rant and rave and your arms are going up and down and you're kicking dirt on the umpire's shoes. And now they're probably talking about weather, or golf game, or Ron Renicky said, well, seeing a few innings maybe.
Well, they're going to take a look at it.
They already did. Right? Oh, no, they're not. I thought they already. Well.
That was Jerry Narron, I think, down there in the bench coach to Ron Renicky, who was on the phone to their video coordinator.
Now, do I understand that? Well, Jerry Narron is on the phone to someone in the clubhouse. Right. But he's always the guy. Jay Bell does it in the Reds dugout. Yeah. Jerry Narron does it in the Brewers dugout. So Jerry thinks that he's out. I think he's safe.
Yeah, it looked like it actually looked like a tie by the time he actually placed the tag. Had Jeanette gotten the tag on the foot, they'd have had it. So he doesn't get him there, doesn't get him there.
Safe.
Yeah, looks like the same time. And, of course, the tie goes to the run.
Well, there is really technically no such thing as a tie.
Yes.
Although tomorrow night there will be. Bow tie. And I hope you're wearing one.
I don't have one. When we're at home, it's easy because you've got a whole locker full of them back there. You know, Jim Day heard you bring up the idea of wouldn't it be interesting to know what the conversations are like? So Jim Day took it upon himself to ask Brian Price that question. Jim?
Well, it's one of the most uncomfortable things that a manager can go through, and Brian Price being the first-year manager, it's obviously new to him. But the managers don't like it because the umpires have no control over it. It's the people back in New York making the call, and Brian Price told me of one situation where he's just making small talk out there, and he had his back to the dugout, and the umpire actually said, hey, they're giving you the thumbs down, so go back to the dugout right now. They're giving you the thumbs down. Let's hurry up. So it's just a very weird situation.
But there's really no time limit, right? Or is there? Put on each ball club is to determine whether you're going to ask for an official review or not. And they try to do it as quickly as possible, but I'm not so sure that MLB has put them under the gun.
It's taken quite a while. Normally they're much quicker than this.
Well,
rendering a decision back
it's funny
in New York.
because we gave you all the angles. Now here's a different angle. I still think he's safe.
And if nothing else, there doesn't appear to be enough convincing evidence to overturn the call.
Yeah.
When you're looking at something that long, it's kind of like if you have to wait a long time to decide whether somebody's a Hall of Famer, they're probably not a Hall of Famer. So the call stands.
And it's also like when you're waiting for the officer to stop you for speeding, to come back to get to your car with your license and your certificate of insurance. He takes a long time. He's probably coming back with a ticket. You would have to agree to that from experience.
Understand. Sad. All right, a home run followed by a double.
Nobody out.
0-1 to Todd Frazier, 0 for 2 in the game. Frazier is grounded into a double play, and then he's stranded. A pair of runners with a fielder's choice, and here's a roller. And a throw by Segura's in time. Schumacher on the third, 1 out in the inning. Toronto hit by a pitch in the second inning, struck out in the fourth.
Well, at the very least, the Reds have to get this run in. We missed that opportunity in the third inning with Matt Latos at third and 1 out. You know what hitters normally look for in a situation like this is a ball up in the zone so they can get it into the outfield. Problem with that is that Willie Peralta just pounds the bottom of the strike zone. He really doesn't climb the ladder very much.
Quickly ahead 0-2. Started 2, didn't look like he went, and on the appeal, that's confirmed by Brian Gorman. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This time the home plate umpire said he went around.
He's going to get tossed. And the only reason he didn't is because Rackley's a new umpire. But I mean right now, and there's no reason why he should have made that call. At the very least, he should have gone down to first base and got an opinion from Brian Gorman. I don't know why home plate umpires just don't do that automatically. I don't really think that a home plate umpire has anything to gain at all. And Brian Price has been wrong. I think Brian Price is saying the same thing we are up here, Tom, that a home plate umpire's got nothing to gain by making that call if it's in the gray area. At the very least, the batter and everybody in the dugout wants the first base or the third base umpire to make that call. Whether he gets it right or not, you want a second opinion. And he did not go. Nope. Oh, that is just too bad right there.
So Brian Price ejected from the game. Jay Bell will run the club as Brian Price's bench coach for the rest of the night. Runner at third, 2 away in the inning, and now Lutz. Strike one.
I'm not so sure that Willie Peralta's in a big hurry to throw lots of fastball. Why would you be?
Another breaking ball, and it's down and in. 1-2 to the Reds' first baseman, Donald Lutz. Threw him a fastball to try to get him a chase out of the zone there at 96. 2-2 on Lutz. Struck out his first time up. Hit a line drive hard, as we mentioned, at Scooter Giannetta's last time up. Now the 2-2. Well, he got a fastball that time and right on it. 98 miles per hour. Good eye there by Lutz. So he has run the count full. And we'll see if Peralta now comes back with another 3-2 fastball. The okay's assigned, does Peralta with Lucroy. And the confidence to not throw the fastball and got him swinging. Hamilton homers, but the Reds leave a runner at third, and their manager ejected the rest of the game. The place to turn before every slam, every goal, and every game. America's Pregame only on Fox Sports 1. Tune in to America's Pregame weeknight 6 p.m. Eastern only on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports Go. Billy Hamilton, a solo home run in the Reds' 6th inning. Brewers have a 5-1 lead, and Matt Latos still out there. If you're just tuning in, his defense has really let him down tonight. And unfortunately, that has been a theme during what now is the first 4 games since the All-Star break. I mean, the Reds have been just simply spectacular on defense the entire year. Better than any other team. But they did not play well on defense in New York, and they have not played well on defense tonight. They've been charged with 2 errors. They very easily, not necessarily had errors charged on 2 other plays, but clearly 2 other plays that were run-scoring plays that could have been made and should have been made. 1-1 to Mark Reynolds. We brought up earlier, this is not a 2-1 game. It's a 5-1 game, but it should be 2-1. Or it could be. 1-2 on Reynolds. Segura to follow, and then the pitcher Peralta. This more than likely will be the final inning for Matt Latos. Line drive at Frazier. 1 away. Latos spot due up 4th when the Reds bat in the top of the 7th inning. Well, you're getting an idea what Latos is all about here tonight, and we know that. We've seen him now for 2+ years. I mean, this guy, Chris, I know both you and I are big fans of Matt Latos as far as you handing this guy the ball, and he will compete.
The guy wants to pitch.
No doubt about it. He's continued to stay focused. He's gotten better after all the misplays behind him. And here he is on the mound in the 6th inning and still getting people out.
You know, at the very least, you're saving your bullpen a little bit. This is one of the things that Jim Day mentioned early on is the reason why the Reds are carrying an extra pitcher in the bullpen, because they thought if Latos would have a relapse of some back problems, that they'd have to get him out of there. But they're carrying an extra pitcher. But he's shown everybody that whether he's hurting or not, I don't know. He certainly is not showing that he's hurting. It's the defense behind him that has hurt him. And just some simple lousy breaks.
Segura punches one down the right field line, and that's out of play. Segura, perfect night, a triple, a run scored, a single, and a run scored. 2-2. Breaking ball, grounded at Kozar. The throw nearly pulled Lutz off the bag. His 6'3" frame able to stretch out and get it. Let's take a look at our fan photo of the game, brought to you by AT&T, and you can continue to tweet your photos using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto. Looks like father and son there, Mr. Welsh. Jack, thank you.
Yep.
To the pitcher, Peralta, who had one of the biggest at-bats in this game. They came to the plate after Segura rounded the bases on a triple and an error and put together a 10-pitch at-bat before singling into center field. 3 more batters would reach of the next 4 that came to the plate. And there's strike 3 called on a beautiful breaking ball by Latos. On our way to the 7th, the Reds are down by 4. Program at the ballpark right after the game. It'll be a live performance by the Cincinnati Pops Orchestra, presented by Homemade Brand Ice Cream. And don't forget the Reds 4 for 48 ticket deal going on the entire weekend. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to Reds.com/tickets. Talked about all the Reds fans that have made their way to Milwaukee here tonight. And there are a whole pile of them. And they're hoping the Reds can climb back in this thing. They're down 5-1 as they come to bat in the 7th inning. Oh, and 1 to Chris Heising, who's drawn a walk and struck out. This will be the first out of the inning.
Well, Peralta's all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it happened really back in the 4th inning is when he really got his act together after Latos reached on a bases on balls to start the 4th. Or the 3rd inning. He came back in the 4th inning, struck out 2, and has really been on a roll ever since. Did give up that home run to Billy Hamilton, then a double to Schumacher, but he stranded the runner on back-to-back strikeouts. Now that slider of his, and that is his real go-to pitch, has been very effective tonight.
Ramon Santiago, the batter, trying to keep that hitting streak alive. 0 for 2 so far. A pop-up to center field and a ground ball to short. He's hit in 8 straight games. 1 more. And that would be a career high. 1-1. The 9-gamer, should he get a hit tonight, would tie a career high. 2-1 on the way. And a tapper down to first. Reynolds, the underhand flip to Peralta. The first 2 retired here in the 7th. Well, Chris, it is just hard to believe that this is the same Reds team that we saw wrap up the first half of the year with an 8-3 homestand on just an incredible run, playing fundamentally sound baseball, coming from behind to win games. When they got out in front, they'd add on runs. There was a lot of life, a lot of energy. And you wonder at the end of the day what that Brandon Phillips injury, maybe more than any other. And a lot of people talk about Votto, but he's already been out once already this year for quite a while. Well, they have only won 1 game since Phillips went down. Now the sample size is small, and he is only 1 man.
Well, I think the difference, I think, between Votto going down, say, a couple of years ago, remember? And It was Frazier and Ludwig that all of a sudden got hot and carried the ball club and made it seem like he didn't miss him as much.
Look at that.
That kid is athletic there. That's a big league play.
No doubt about it. Look at a high five from his pitcher. A tragic loss of his 9-month-old little boy, and it's been quite a night for Gene Segura, including this John Morrell hot dog play of the game. We just saw it.
Well, this ended at the top of the 7th inning in the hole. Looked like an infield hit all the way for Zach Cozart, but the young man with a ton of an arm and deep shortstop guns out Zach Cozart, ends the inning. Willie Peralta approves, and that's really the way it has been tonight for the Reds. They have 3 hits and a run. They're down by 4 in that 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 7th. Allows Matt Latos, who was in the on-deck circle when Segura made that ground ball play. So Latos will go back out and try to finish the Brewers off here in the 7th. Now, I got to tell you, when the Brewers went back-to-back innings where they score 3 runs in the 3rd and 2 runs in the 4th, I wouldn't have bet you, regardless of what odds you would have given me, that Latos would be in this game in the 7th inning.
Gomez pops it up to lead off the bottom of the 7th inning, and Frazier is there for out number 1. Scooter Gennett is 0 for 3. Was initially awarded a base hit and an RBI on that ground ball to the right of the first baseman, Donald Lutz, that Lutz could not handle. It was scored a single and then later changed to an error, so no RBI for Gennett. .88 miles per hour up in the strike zone. 91 pitches in the game tonight for Latos. Shot into left center, base hit by Gennett.
I guess the best way to describe this young man is pesky. Every time we play the Brewers, we tell the story how he was born in the Cincinnati area. Raised in Sarasota, they came back to play amateur baseball for the Midland Redskins.
Now Ryan Braun. No action in the Reds bullpen. They had Carlos Contreras up a little bit earlier. Braun is 2 out of 3 tonight. He hit that line drive that sailed over the head of Heisey in the 3rd inning, plating a couple of runs. Fouled away, and it's 1-1 on Ryan Braun. Will Smith, the left-hander. He is ready in the Brewers bullpen. They had another left-hander, Zach Duke, up and throwing the last inning 1-1 now to Braun. And it's fouled away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One and 2 to Braun. And Latos to the plate. In the air the other way. Got it off the end of the bat. And that will be the second out of the inning.
Next batter, the third baseman, Ramirez.
Now Ramos Ramirez 0 for 2, hit by a pitch in the third inning. Latros trying to grind it out here and get through this 7th inning. His spot due to lead off in the top of the 8th. Reds are down 5-1. Strike 1 to Ramirez.
I noticed that when Ramirez was hit back in the 3rd inning, that on his right hand he wears protection. On his left arm, of course, he's got that protector that protects his elbow. That is something that I think that the player has to petition the Major League office to be able to wear one of those. Show maybe a previous injury or a current injury of some kind, but it also has some kind of a wrapping. Maybe it's just tape below his right hand, and that looks like where he got the baseball the first time against Latos.
Oh, and 2 on Ramirez. Nothing in 2 on the third baseman Ramirez, and that one bounces up there, blocked nicely by Mesoraco. Right off that chest protector.
I think that last pitch was that new changeup that Matt Latos has been experimenting with, and holds it in somewhat of an odd manner. We may have to do a tech talk on that sometime, but he's had great success in getting that ball to back up for him. Pitch number 100 coming up here for the big right-hander.
Well, 4 of the 5 runs are earned runs tonight against Latos, despite the fact that there were a couple of other misplays that you couldn't give players errors on. Runner takes off, fouled away. The throw by Santiago to third base on a triple by Segura. It became an earned run when the next batter had a single. And then the ball that Heisey came in on and it went over his head was a straight double. No one reached in that inning on an error. The error by Lutz allowed the second run in the 4th inning to score, and that is the only unearned run against Latos. 2-2. Tell you one injury update we did not talk much about it, and that would be infielder Jack Anaheim. Of course, he's coming back from right shoulder surgery. He made 4 rehab appearances down at Single-A Dayton. And beginning Thursday has made 3 starts at DH for Louisville. So he might be one guy that it may not be much longer before he's back on the active roster, and they could use Jack Hanahan.
It would give the Reds another left-handed hitter. It would give him more of an experienced player that could play either third base or first. Probably first base, so that you don't have to get Todd Frazier out of his natural position at third.
And Hanahan, a guy that Reds fans really did not get a chance to see the real Jack Hanahan, if you will, a year ago, because he played through the entire year with that damaged shoulder and really didn't tell anybody till the season was nearly over. But it would be nice to have him back. Three and two on Aramis Ramirez. Runner will take off, and here's the pitch. Foul out of play. Well, Lato's just trying to get that one final out. Got ahead of Ramirez and this at bat quickly before the count is run full. Two on Ramirez, and a ground ball to the glove side of Frazier. He'll play to first, and a gutsy performance tonight, certainly by Latos. Bad defense behind him, and he gets you through 7.
Willie Peralta tonight in our Mazda pitch-by-pitch, and he had a pretty good run of it. Peralta did overall. He did not allow the Reds much in the way of offense. Only 3 hits, a run overall, walked a couple. He struck out 5 and had a lot of ground balls. Came in as a bona fide ground ball pitcher. He kept the ball down in the zone consistently all night long, and right now riding a 4-run lead as he leaves the game after 7 innings.
And they will bring in from their bullpen the left-hander Will Smith. Reds have had good success against this left-hander who is having a good year.
Yes, he is having a good year. They picked him up from Kansas City. But he is in now already his 51st game. So he is a go-to guy for Ron Renicky to set up Francisco Rodriguez, their closer. Strong arm lefty from Newton, Georgia.
Reds have handed him a loss already this season. And it looks like the Reds are going to go to that bench. And it'll be the rookie Christopher Negron to bat for Matt Latos, who allows 8 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 5 runs, 4 earned, hit a batter in his 7 innings tonight. Negron has 1 hit in 8 at bats. That 1 hit, of course, a 3-run opposite field home run. Reds came into play tonight. 2.5 behind the co-leaders in the Central, these Brewers, along with the idle Cardinals. They have 6 outs to play with, down 4, and that ball is crushed into right center field. This Negron's got some pop, and that baby flies out of here, his 2nd opposite field home run. Wow. You got to wonder, Chris, do you think about giving this young man a little playing time? I mean, there's some pop in that bat.
Boy, he wasted no time at all either. Will Smith trying to get ahead of him right here with a little get-ahead fastball. This is our Nissan drive of the game as he goes opposite Christopher Negron does. Tell you another thing, he wasted no time at all in getting around those bases.
Yep.
He would give Adam Rosales a run for it.
Well, now all of a sudden, you've got the top of the order up. You're down by 3. There's nobody out in the 8th inning. Tell you, the Reds, we brought up when he came in the game, they have had very good success against his pitcher, Smith, who has dominated everybody else.
That's a base hit.
That's a base hit all the way for Billy Hamilton. And now all of a sudden, you're 1 more base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate.
Well, when Billy Hamilton gets it right there against a left-handed pitcher, forget it.
Next batter, right fielder, 25, Skip Schumacher.
Well, if you remember, the lawsuit the Reds hung on Will Smith was a home run by Jay Bruce.
Yep.
He's pitched only 3 times against the Reds previous to tonight, but the Reds have scored in 2 of the 3 games. They scored 2 runs in the 1 inning that he pitched. That was July the 6th in Cincinnati. And he scored a run against him back in June.
So this is the 4th game against him, and he
4th
scored
game
3
overall.
times.
Right.
Right here's Schumacher. And a breaking ball is on the outside corner. Boy, that looked up in the strike zone. I think Schumacher taking a long, hard look at that one. 0-1. Schumacher, a pair of hits tonight, a single and a double. Boy, that is a give strike if there ever was.
I mean, it really never even looked like a strike.
No.
I mean, it's one thing if a pitch looks like it could be a strike, maybe halfway to the plate. That looks like it came in from center field.
Strike 3.
And he knew it. Well, he kept the breaking ball on Skip Schumacher, even with Billy Hamilton at first base. Well, he went outside with the one before that, and that one went from a ball to being a strike at the last second as it touched the inside corner.
Todd Frazier 0 for 3 in the game. 3 ground balls in the infield. 2 to short, 1 to second on a double play. Well, down by 3 and you're down to your final 5 outs. Highly unlikely. Although one never assumes with Billy Hamilton anything. But the goal here is to try to find a way to bring that tying run to the plate. Frazier had the game-tying home run yesterday in the 8th inning against Dylan Betances. Fastball away. 93 miles per hour, 1-1 to Frazier. That right side wide open. And I mean almost the entire right side. Jeanette cheating up the middle a couple of steps. And, of course, Reynolds holding the runner on at first.
Jeanette's got to be there for a double play. That's not much of a move by Smith. His quick move, his quick step-off move is the one that is keeping Hamilton close.
Frazier patiently waiting while Smith continues to look over, throw over. And he does again. It seems silly to ask the question, but situation dictates different measures. Are you a little surprised that Smith is paying that much attention? I mean, Hamilton doesn't look like he's going. He just doesn't have that look of Billy Hamilton is in the run game mode.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure that Smith understands that. And I don't think he really understands the situation that the Reds are 3 runs down, and they don't want to risk running into an out here.
Now, would you think Luke Roy would let him know that?
Well, no. I think you just let him do his thing. Try not to complicate his life.
That would have been ball 3. Instead of swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Like there was just nothing on that pitch at all. It didn't do anything.
There wasn't. It was a changeup. Kind of a rare changeup, really, for Will Smith. He's more known as a strong arm left-hander. Maybe it was a slider that just didn't break. I'm not even sure he's got it. Maybe it was a change. Kind of a floater.
He threw 2 of those in that at bat to Frazier. They didn't do anything, and both of them went for strikes.
Well, you swing at the arm motion.
Now Devin Mesoraco for 2, struck out twice.
Who he will probably pitch the same way.
We have Ryan Ludwig standing in the on-deck circle. They have Brandon Kinsler, a right-hander, getting loose in the bullpen. Fastball up and away. Well, it's now a 3-0 count on Mesoraco. And we said you want to get that tying one to the plate in this inning. And he's one wild one away from doing just that. And Mesoraco 3-0, taking all the way. Mesoraco, 16 home runs, 46 runs batted in for the National League All-Star. A 3-1 count, and here it comes from Smith. Threw it right by him. And he humped up a little there. At 95. Third strikeout of the game for Mesoraco.
The bottom of the 8th inning, a new pitcher in, but before that we'll go to the last strikeout that Will Smith had against Devin Mesoraco, and he got it up there in a hurry. Flamethrower brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce at 96 miles an hour. That was after he went 93 miles an hour, then 95 miles an hour, and he struck out. Smith did the last 3 batters that he faced.
So a 5-2 ball game. Brewers coming to bat here in the bottom half of the 8th inning, and they'll be facing a new pitcher. As Carlos Contreras, who's thrown the ball, Chris, very well since coming up from the minor league.
He has thrown the ball very well. Contreras brought up really right out of Double-A. Young man has had a nice year going down there. He has not pitched all that much. He's been up for several weeks now, and he's only pitched in 5 ball games. A couple of weeks, I mean. First game that he appeared in was on June the 21st, so it's been more like a month. Pretty good gig if you can get one like that.
You're not lying.
Works less than you do.
You just can't help yourself. A cheap laugh. Boy, there's nothing worse than a cheap laugh.
For those who are hung around this long at night, nearly 11 o'clock back at home, why not?
Man. Normally, I'm the only one throwing those tackles.
Normally, yours aren't funny.
There is no debate about that. outside corner from Contreras. 2-2 to Lucroy, will be followed by Schaefer and Reynolds. And naturally, the Brewers in a save situation. They have their closer, Francisco Rodriguez, up throwing in the bullpen. 3-2 to Lucroy. Lucroy had a couple of hits, couple of doubles for the National League in the All-Star game, getting a start for the injured Yadier Molina. Boy, he had a couple of rockets. Knocked in 2 runs, and that's a rocket. Right center. And Hamilton, crashing into the wall, leaps up to get it.
Well, those fans that come out to Miller Park on a regular basis are used to seeing Carlos Gomez make plays like that on a regular basis. Tonight is Billy Hamilton going against the center field wall. You don't get that kind of defense too often down in Double-A.
Well, wait a minute now. You know, we talk all the time, and I can't even remember the last time I saw a minor league baseball game in person. It's been a long time. Well, we talk a lot about, you know, the most recent guy, for example, that with the Reds I can remember, a guy like D.D. Gregorius. Remember he came up, we saw him, and it was great defense. Well, there have to be some great defenders, too, in the minor leagues, right? As we know, including that guy right there. Yeah. You're saying in the minor leagues you don't see many up against the wall like that?
Well, I'm not saying, I mean,
not like that.
If you make them enough, you're not playing in the Southern League very long.
Yes. Broken back. Cozart, nice play. Real good play. So although the Reds have struggled on this road trip on defense, they make back-to-back excellent plays here in this 8th inning. Of course, this was a ballpark, and every time we come here, it makes me remember that game. And I know many at home remember the All-Star game they played here in 2002 that ended in a tie. Remember that?
Oh, I remember it. I'd rather not call it a game, more like a contest.
That was really a
weird night.
Really weird night. And it forced baseball to change the number of players that were on a roster, and it forced baseball to put in that rule where if you pitch on Sunday before the All-Star break, now all of a sudden, you know, you're not only not eligible to pitch in a game, but they replace you with somebody who is eligible to pitch in a game.
It's a good rule.
Joe Torre, the American League manager, Bob Brenly was a National League manager, and I remember Brenly coming back to the Diamondbacks and was just so upset about the way the whole thing played out. Of course, he's a guy you want to get everybody into the game, so you're rolling along never expecting that it's going to go into extra innings and you're going to run out of pitchers. Because the last thing you want to do if you're the manager of an all-star team is to leave a guy in there for 1 or like 2 innings. Then he goes back to his team and he can't pitch for the first 5 days after the break.
Right. Well, it used to be, though, starting pitchers would throw 3 innings.
You're right.
And regular players, the starters, would sometimes play almost the entire game.
Off the end of the bat in the left field, caught by Heisey. So the Reds will bat with a chance in the 9th inning against Rodriguez. They're down by 3.
I've expanded. Let you hear from the manager before anyone else. It's brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. I'm Jim Day. Let's take you back to the Christopher Negron opposite field home run. And you guys mentioned that fast home run trot. Well, indeed, let's take a look. Not knowing if it's going to go out whether or not, he's in a full sprint right here, but almost stays in a sprint. It's over seconds around second base and continuing on for his second home run as a Red, and at the end, 15.78 seconds. Now that is an unofficial time from our truck. By the way, there's a website called TaterTrotTracker.com. They've been tracking speeds of home run trots since 2010. You mentioned former Red Adam Rosales. According to them, he has the top 5 in Major League Baseball since 2010. So Negron almost as fast as Adam Rosales.
Wow, very nice. Great work as usual by our producer Josh Hall, our director Brian Hunterman, Lauren White in graphics, and Matt Sigafus dialing up all the highlights, slow-mos, got it all going. Francisco Rodriguez takes over on the mound now for the Brewers, trying to close it out. But the Reds are down 5-2.
Having a good year. I mean, he is throwing strikes. He's only walked 10 batters. He has struck out 54. And he's doing it with all sorts of pitches. I mean, there was a time when he really could bury that fastball up there in the mid-90s, but now he's got a changeup and a curveball with fastball arm action. He's only blown 3 saves all year long.
What's right on that fastball? Fouled it back. Pirates have already lost tonight to the Dodgers. So the Brewers 3 outs away from gaining ground on everybody. And they'd be back into first place. But the Reds not finished quite yet. They have Lutz, they have Heisey, they have Santiago, Cozart. Should we get any further? Of course, they have Jay Bruce as a weapon off the bench.
Yes, they do.
Get a couple of guys on. And perhaps give Jay Bruce a chance. He's ready down there in that dugout. That ball is crushed, but right at the right fielder, and Braun almost lost it in the lights. Well, that's a couple of loud outs tonight for Lutz. He struck out twice. He's lined out twice.
That's a good swing right there. He finally got a ball a little bit above the belt that he could just level a swing on. It was a humpback line drive that stayed right in the same level as those lights. You know, you don't know what a good play that is by Braun unless you stand out there and see where that ball came from.
Tell you, there are a lot of people, and you can say whatever you want about Braun and going through the scandal of biogenesis, and that would all be correct and 100% accurate. But on the flip side, the other thing you can't say about Braun is he has done whatever the Brewers have asked him to do as far as what position he plays. He went from the outfield. He came into the infield to play third base. He went back to the outfield as a left fielder. And now this year they asked him to go over into right field. I remember a few years ago when there was even some hint of discussion that, would the Reds consider asking Joey Votto to move up at first base when they had Yonder Alonso coming up. There's a grounder down to third. And the Reds are down to their final out. And Chris, I don't know about you. I can't remember our conversations. I know we did talk about it, but I was stunned at the level, not by Votto. Votto would do anything you asked him to do. But I was stunned by the reaction of many in the media that it would be almost blasphemous to ask an MVP to change positions. The Milwaukee Brewers have 2 of them. Robin Yount did it, and Ryan Braun did it.
Well, Ken Griffey Jr. did it. I never could figure out what the big deal was that.
There's ball 1 is Santiago. I mean, look, if it's better for the team and the player is agreeable to it, and most of them would be, not all of them.
Well, the ones that aren't agreeable.
Santiago lines 1 into center. Caught. And that's the end of this inning streak on a. Boy, the Reds hit a couple of balls hard in that inning off Rodriguez. But when all is said and done, it was very sloppy defense that add up to a 5-2 Milwaukee win here tonight.
Yeah, I think it was sloppy defense and some bad breaks overall. I'm not sure losing a ball in the evening sky is bad defense, but they did get the breaks when they needed them. They only scored in 2 innings. The Brewers did, the 3rd and the 4th inning, but that was enough to hold off the Reds. They win by 3, 5-2. A pretty good game pitched by Willie Peralta. The Reds had a chance early on, but did not capitalize. And the Brewers, well, they are trying to get a little momentum going. Meanwhile, the Reds have lost 7 in a row.
On the road.
On the road.
And they have lost 4 in a row to begin this second half of the season. We will be back with more from Miller Park in a moment.